Let's get started. Start with listening, and then learn new words and practice them in sentences.
Imagine it's a sunny Saturday afternoon, and you meet a friend at a local cafe. You've both ordered your favorite drinks and are settling into comfortable chairs, ready for a good chat. As you're catching up on each other's lives, your friend leans forward, looks at you with a curious smile, and asks, "What do you do for fun?" Now that's a question that invites you to talk about your hobbies and free time activities. You see, hobbies are activities that we engage in for pleasure or relaxation, typically during our leisure time. They could be anything from reading, playing football, painting, to gardening. It's all about what you love doing when you're not working or studying. So, how do you respond to your friend's question? Well, you could start by saying, "I like reading." Simple, isn't it? By saying "I like," you are expressing your preference for a certain activity. In this case, reading. It's a straightforward way to share what you enjoy doing in your free time. Now let's say you're a sports enthusiast. You could say, "I enjoy playing football." Here, you're using the word enjoy to express your liking for a more active hobby. This phrase is very versatile. You could replace playing football with any other activity you enjoy, like cooking, hiking, or playing the guitar. The beauty of talking about hobbies is that it's not just about listing what you like to do. It's also a chance to share a bit of who you are, your passions, your interests. Hobbies can be a window into your world that lets others in. And just like that, you've shared about your hobbies. But what if you want to turn the tables and learn about your friends' hobbies? Stay tuned, as our next scene will guide you on asking others about their interests and hobbies. Until then, keep practicing and keep sharing your world, one hobby at a time. Now, you're curious about your friends' interests. How do you ask about their hobbies? Let's dive into the art of inquiring about others' hobbies. It's a great way to get to know someone better and to keep a conversation flowing. But how do you phrase your questions without sounding too intrusive? Let's start with the basics. A simple and straightforward question would be, "What do you do for fun?" This is a friendly and open-ended question that allows the other person to share about their interests. It's a great conversation starter. Another common phrase you can use is, "Do you have any hobbies?" This question is a bit more direct and may encourage the other person to share more specifics about their leisure activities. Remember, when you're asking about someone's hobbies, it's important to show genuine interest in their response. You can do this by maintaining eye contact, nodding in agreement, or offering words of encouragement such as, "That sounds interesting," or "I've always wanted to try that." If you want to dig a little deeper, you can ask, "How did you get into that hobby?" Or, "What do you like most about it?" These questions show that you're not only interested in what they do, but also why they do it. Also, don't be afraid to ask for more details. If someone tells you they enjoy reading, you can ask, "What kind of books do you like?" Or, "Who's your favorite author?" If they say they love cooking, ask them about their signature dish or their favorite recipe. Remember, the goal of asking about someone's hobbies is to learn more about them and to keep the conversation engaging. So don't rush the process. Let the conversation flow naturally and enjoy the opportunity to learn something new. So now, not only can you share about your own hobbies, you can also ask others about theirs, but how often do you engage in your hobbies? Your friend is interested in how often you engage in your hobbies. How do you describe the frequency of your hobbies? Well, this is where the magic of language comes in handy. You see, there are many ways to express how often you do something, and it all boils down to the choice of words and phrases. For instance, if you have a hobby that you engage in regularly, you might say, "I do it every weekend." This phrase indicates a consistent pattern, something you do without fail. It's like clockwork. Every weekend rolls around, and there you are, indulging in your hobby. Similarly, you could say, "I go hiking every month." This tells your friend that once a month you strap on your boots and hit the trails. It's not as frequent as every weekend, but it's still a regular activity that you undertake. On the other hand, if your hobby is something you do occasionally, not on a strict schedule, you could use phrases like, "I sometimes go hiking," or "I often read books." These phrases convey a sense of frequency, but not as rigid or predictable as every weekend or every month. The word "sometimes" means that you do something now and then, but not all the time. It's more sporadic, more spontaneous. Often is a bit more frequent than sometimes, but still not as regular as every weekend or every month. Now, if your hobby is something you do rarely, you might say, "I seldom play the piano," or "I rarely go fishing." These phrases tell your friend that you do engage in these activities, but not very often. And there you have it. By using these phrases, you can describe the frequency of your hobbies in a clear and concise way. Whether you're a weekend warrior, a monthly hiker, an occasional reader, or a rare fisherman, you have the language tools to express yourself accurately. Now you can confidently share how often you engage in your hobbies. But what if you are interested in something but don't actively do it? You've always been interested in photography but haven't gotten around to it yet. How do you express this to your friend? Well, expressing interest in a hobby you don't yet practice is as easy as pie. Let's say you've been drawn to the art of capturing moments through the lens, but haven't had the chance to dive into it. You can simply say, "I'm interested in photography." This phrase is perfect because it lets the other person know that you have a strong inclination towards this activity, even though you haven't started practicing it yet. Maybe you've always wanted to take up gardening or learn a new language. You can just replace photography with any hobby you're interested in. So you might say, "I'm interested in gardening," or "I'm interested in learning Spanish." It's a simple yet effective way to share your interests. Now, what if your friend asks, "Have you ever tried it?" A great way to respond is by saying, "I haven't had the chance to try it yet, but I'm really looking forward to it." This answer shows your enthusiasm and eagerness to learn or try something new. Remember, it's perfectly fine to express interest in a hobby you don't yet practice. After all, hobbies are about exploring new things and broadening our horizons. You never know, expressing your interest might encourage others to join you, and you could embark on a new adventure together. There's also another phrase that can come in handy when expressing interest in a hobby. That phrase is, "I've always wanted to try." For instance, you could say, "I've always wanted to try rock climbing." This phrase is similar to "I'm interested in," but it adds a sense of longing or aspiration. So whether you're interested in photography, gardening, learning a new language, or any other hobby, don't hesitate to express it. Conversations about hobbies are a fantastic way to connect with others, learn new things, and maybe even inspire someone to try something new. With these phrases, you can now confidently navigate any conversation about hobbies and free time activities.
Let's learn new words and practice English at level A2. Hobby, an activity you do regularly for enjoyment. Example, my favorite hobby is painting landscapes on the weekends. Relaxing, something that makes you feel calm and rested. Example, reading books is a very relaxing way to spend my free time. Outdoor activities done outside, in nature or open spaces. Example, I enjoy outdoor hobbies like hiking and cycling. Creative, using imagination or original ideas. Example, I like creative hobbies, such as drawing or writing stories. Socialize, to spend time with other people in a friendly way. Example, in my free time, I love to socialize with friends at the local cafe.